Okay, see, it stuns you right every time. Recording in progress.
Mhm.
We talked about it before. And first of all, we're talking about this is the special request by Angie, the episode on dating in your 50s. And Angie, always a pleasure to have you back. And Nicole, you're we're being joined with Nicole and Angie from Virginia today. And I'm
Hey
glad to
there.
have you both.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for taking some time today.
You're worth it.
I've, okay, you want to get me off balance? Okay, I see.
Yep.
So it's not bad enough. It's like a 2-on-1 kind of thing, but you're trying to pull your chicanery, huh? Your
Oh,
tomfoolery.
you've been
I
reading a
got
thesaurus all day?
I got some nine-letter words. I used to get accused at work of having word of the day toilet paper, which I do not. I would use it, but yeah, dating in your 50s. So as I mean, you were talking about it, so of course that got me to wondering about it because well, I've been there. I have tried it. It's certainly different than when we were younger. I don't know about you guys. Well, of course we're going to get your opinions on it, but I I think I because I put in like I put notes together. And I said it's not even it's a little bit different, and then I started thinking, well, it's not even 60% the same. It's just so many differences now, right?
It's a lot of differences.
Well, one thing I mean, 'cause they know, and more than one site says the pool of potential dates is smaller than in our younger days. And yeah, right away, that's kind of creepy, right? It's not like people are dying off, but they are. but but
Some of them are.
Yeah.
yeah, but God bless them. A lot of them are in long-term relationships already, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
But I don't know if it's like maybe because you got to be wondering about certain aspects of it, but maybe if there's a limitation, like a socially acceptable age range, like people in our age can be dating, right? You got to quit your smiling because you're smiling. If you sound like you've been there, right?
I thought you picked the age range just to pick on me because I typically had dated younger. So I
Have
don't
you? So
feel
you're
comfortable.
you're okay with
Yeah,
it?
I was, but not now. Now that I am pushing 60, I don't. When I was in my 40s, I thought it was really okay to date a 25-year-old, and I had a lot of fun. But now that I am pushing 60, I don't find anything in the 30 age range acceptable or anything I want to even invest time in. So it's changed.
It's changed. And even when looking at it, I'm almost 50. And when we think about that, it's a challenge even to date men now in their late 20s, early 30s for me, because they still have a desire to want family and things like that. And I'm
Yeah.
approaching with my career, I can retire at 55. So I'm not looking to start brand new over. I mean, if somebody comes along with a child, it's different, but yeah, they start talking about wanting family and blah blah blah. It's just not really doable at this age.
That's an automatic
Well,
check the box because it's not going to work. And I don't want
first of all,
anyone
let's
with young children.
well, let's not get sidetracked real quick. You say you with your career, you can retire at 55. Are you open to like marrying an older guy, perhaps? Say, I don't know, 61.
I've,
But
I've
anyway,
been
but
working on this, Tim. Nobody's listening.
Right.
but there is like a creepy calculator, right? A formula that
Mhm.
just always we've all heard about it. I think the most general one I've seen is half your age plus seven. Does that
Yep.
sound right?
Yep. That's
So
about
that
right. So
means I could date somebody see 37 years old. I don't think so. No, that doesn't feel right.
I could date somebody that would be 30. And no, I have friends that have children that age.
I know my oldest son is like half is that age range
Yeah.
where and that would
How old
like
is
if it get really weird. I mean, honestly, I mean, I haven't made it a focus, but the last I would say five long-term relationships that I've had, the minimum 11 years younger than me. I'm fine with that. That's kind
yeah.
of a wheelhouse for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, 10 or 11's doable.
yeah, I'm okay. Yikes. But
Yeah.
well, good, because I was going to ask you your feedback on it, but yeah, I agree. Because I mean, as you're thinking about it, because I used to joke about back in the day, I would say my when I first started dating it was like my age range was 18 to 80. I don't care. Like, yeah, that's that was before. It was before. But but there are other differences, like you talked about, Angie, and I'll tell you right now, I don't really care about anybody's political proclivities. See, here's another nine-letter word. But you do, Angie?
Um,
I don't care about it. I just don't want I don't want it to be a topic of conversation all the time. If we differ politically, I want conversations to be respectful, short, sweet, and let's don't try to convince the other as to why we should change our views. I just, and that makes it hard. And in our area, it makes it very difficult.
You mean your
You've
area of the
lived here.
country?
Yes,
Yeah,
in
I have.
Virginia.
Oh, I
You've
have.
lived here.
I,
Southwest.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I live in
So-
Texas now too, so
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I did.
I'm
go ahead.
open to it.
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I'll listen. I mean, because I unfortunately, well, I put these packs in here because I find the last one hilarious. I don't know if you guys saw it, but because innerbody.com, I got to give them respect. And everybody, like, I usually try to keep these current as current as I can. And they're saying 61% of respondents say political views are a deal breaker. 61%.
Yeah.
Not for me and not for us, I guess.
Yeah, not a
But
deal breaker.
well, but they also say like a vast majority of Democrats are dating Democrats, Republicans are dating Republicans, which I don't know who takes the time to notice that, but
Mhm.
Right.
most people, like you're saying, Angie, are willing to accept differences in views or policies. 75, we're getting to the funny one, trust me, but almost 75% of respondents have previously fought with their significant other about politics.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Never. I can't remember anybody ever, even my friends, but my friends are idiots. It's more like getting them to hear what their point of view is. Like, that's ridiculous. But okay, but here's a good one though. This site also said that people who support current political leaders, especially former President Trump, are more likely to expect sex on the first date. What?
I died. That.
Grab them by the. I guess that's I guess
Nicole,
that's
you're
okay.
shaking your head.
Yeah, I read it too, and I was like, I just can't believe that. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's
I
funny,
mean, I
like
would
whoever
expect
these.
sex on the first date if it was really expensive meal.
Duly
Throwing that out
noted.
there.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
If I'm buying,
let me
you're
think.
putting out.
I can't think of, well, honestly, because in my this, I'm going to go back to, like, I didn't want to touch on Mitch's point of view from experience, but I think, because I have, just for research on the show, I've tried, and we'll touch base later on the dating apps and stuff, but if we have time, but I've tried it just to do research, and the ones they recommend do work, but of the dates that I have, it seems like everybody still holds to the minimum 3 dates before we're getting,
That's- Yeah, that's pretty standard.
yeah. I've had a recent one that did 2 dates in one day, and she asked me, "She's like, that's three, right?" It's like, I get it. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Like we went
And so
we
good
went hiking
looking
in the
and
morning.
charming.
Yeah, well, yeah, see, but there's also, because as you get back into it, because I don't know about you guys' personal situation, but mine was after 8 years of being married, and then, like, I took like 10 years raising my kids, and I was like, okay, now I'm back. So, but then I'm in my 40s, 50s. But by then, do you think because I can't recall the website that has this, medium.com. I have no idea why it's not a psychic, but from December last year, because I thought they were probably talking about Christmas holidays and dating. But they say at this point, you've got a lack of confidence. You might feel self-conscious or limited and too old for the dating game.
Yeah.
You guys find that?
Yeah. And I actually had this conversation with Angie. I went on a first date this weekend with a gentleman that I talked to for the last month or so. We met at a single mingle event that Angie.
No plus one needed.
Yeah, no plus one needed. That
I really want to get to those.
Yep, out bowling, and we hit it off really well. And I told her, I said, I am so awkward at this. And I said, because similar to you, I was with a man for 10 years, and then we split up, and it was very traumatic for me on my 40th birthday. And I didn't date for 6 years. I didn't date seriously for 6 years, and then I got involved with somebody again, and we recently split up. But it's like that self-confidence is just not quite there. And I told her, it just feels awkward at this point.
It's kind of goofy.
It is. It's different. I haven't been on a first date in over. Well, I haven't dated anybody in 6 years. I went out with a couple Winters, but that didn't count as a first date because absolutely it didn't even get written down in my journal. But it was, I just, when you look at someone like Nicole and you think, how could she have it all going and still have no self-confidence? It's shocking. And then when you get to talking to other single ladies, you realize we're all lacking confidence. Anything, over 45 and beyond, if you're still single, you automatically start sabotaging yourself, thinking, what the heck's wrong? Me, I go straight to my weight. I'm like, it's my weight, it's my weight. It's because I'm chunky. But then, we're always trying to find that one thing that it's got to be us, instead of having confidence and being like, well, maybe it's just that the guys aren't communicating well or don't know what they want. But we
Well, you're right
automatically
though,
assume
as far as putting pressure on yourself, because that's one of the 3 points that I got from this website is, you're facing a lot of a negative self-judgment, they call it. And that's right. I mean, it's because that's true in a lot of areas of life. I mean, I find as I get further and further in my career, I've told people, I've joked before, I find there's a point where I accidentally realize I've learned a lot. I'm pretty damn good at what I do. And also, and I am, but, but, but also with the negative self-judgment, it makes it kind of challenging. But also, we've been out of practice. We just said 6 years. I mean, and you're kind of disconnected from how it all goes, and it's all different now because certainly with our age, but it's a different world now too.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you think? I mean, in your opinion, do you think uh, social media has any impact, not only just dating, but the perception you might have of yourself? I mean, that might be part of it because let's face
I
it,
preach it all the time.
Yeah.
yeah, 90% of people on social media aren't putting their worst days out there. They're putting the best shit that happens, stuff that
Right.
happens to them.
Right. And then you see that a lot. And just in general, social media in general with dating, like we were having this conversation again that it's the downfall of relationships in this dating age. If you are not strong in your relationship, it can be the absolute downfall. Having dated men that didn't want, my partner of 10 years didn't want anybody to know that he was dating me. He wouldn't put, so neither one of us had a reran relationship. I was getting hit up every day on a regular, and it's constant with men that just don't want to be publicly known, and I'm like, what, I just don't get it, and that becomes a conflict in relationships. I don't ever
It's
care.
huge. Yeah.
I don't care, but I'm just like whatever. But it does, and then you start seeing friends getting married, or friends having babies, or their grandbabies coming along, or and it's all those pressures as well of seeing everybody living their best life on social media.
I get
Yeah.
a kick out of when people get in a relationship and then all of a sudden they have a dual Facebook. It's like Angie and Nicole, and it's one person on that. It's two people on one Facebook, and that they have zero trust with each other. So they are both on the same Facebook page. And I think that to me is hysterical. I mean, social media, I've told Nicole 100 times, it makes you doubt everything. And then you find yourself looking up that person's name, going through every search engine you can use to find out, are they married? Where do they live? Do they have children? What's their debt? Because you can find out a lot of stuff for $14.99.
Well, I'm
But
telling you, like the last girl I went out with, I mean, first of all, she's a horse girl. She trains and teaches riding, so she knows she's nuts, and that's what you learn in Texas. But she told me that she admitted, like, she's like, I deep dived your, because I had been on Facebook in 3 years. I mean, Mitch is on there, but I'm not.
yeah,
But she deep dived into it. And she's pulling up data, no kidding, from like when I lived in Pittsburgh, and that was 10 years ago. So she's like, really, you drinking wine with a straw? I'm like, what? Yes, I was drinking wine with a straw.
Yeah,
But well, because that you can misinterpret stuff in there too. Because like that's why I get so disappointed sometimes with texting. It's like people read, they
yes.
put in the inflection that they think they're hearing. Like that's not what I said. And then you got to waste time talking your way back to square one. That's But there are positives too. I mean, social media, because it also, I mean, because one thing but I found useful was if you do have like a long-term relationship, that can help keep the communication going.
Sure.
To like, how was your day going, things like that, and you know, couples have the chance to, connect visually with face or whatever medium you're using. But it also expands. They say it expands the dating pool. For my personal experience, it doesn't unless you're hopping on one of those dating apps I was talking about.
Right.
I don't see how it expands the dating pool.
I don't, it scared me. I've tried them all. I even went to farmersonly.com only because I think we were
Did
drinking
you?
heavily. Yes, we were drinking heavily and I think they made me do it, but a man
I
holding
can
a
see
baby
Nicole
goat
laughing like
is not
we
for
may have,
me.
yeah.
We probably have.
Yeah, but I did try. I mean, and I was like, oh Lord, this is terrible. This is scary. And I know a lot of single people and I go to a lot. I mean, I'm always doing stuff and I still have, I bet I haven't met 3 people in the past 5 years that just absolutely were like, wow, yeah, I'd like to talk to that guy, but it's
Hmm.
scary out here.
Yeah, it's especially me because I have an interest, a different kind of job where I travel a lot. So I live in
Mhm.
Texas,
Nicole
but I
does
bet,
as well.
I've lived here 6 years and I probably have been here three. It's like, so I jokingly tell people like if they're not at the gym or the grocery store, I'm probably not going to meet them.
Right.
So that's my limited circle. I
Right.
think that's what I choose to think. That's what I choose to believe. It's not me, I swear.
Right. I agree with you.
But it's unfortunate, but it seems like, do you believe in the theory? Like I want to hear you guys' opinion that I've heard it a million times, and it's unfortunately proven true. Uh, you'll never find it when you're looking for it. You'll always find it when you're not looking for it.
Yep.
Yep. I think that's true. And when I was newly single, again, I was on the dating apps for maybe a month and I quit. It wasn't for me. I don't need pen pals. And so there was no initiative. And for somebody like
That was the
me,
jail website. No,
and
I'm
for
going to flip some burgers. I'll be right back.
for me, professionally, and I need a lot more initiative. But like when it comes to dating, and I just need a little bit. I need a partner to meet me in the middle. So I wasn't on there very long, and Angie and I have conversations about it. I would rather meet somebody organically. So when she asked about starting these single mingle events that we were doing, the first couple were at a bar. The third one, I told her, I said, I want to do something. I want to make it feel like we're like on dates or whatever. So I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
we're going
it's a good
bowling.
idea.
We're going bowling. That physical activity, because I told her, so I'm a wallflower. I'll sit and I'm not moving from my spot. I'm not mingling at all. So
And I instantly become the mayor of whatever town
Mhm.
we're in. I'm
Mhm.
like talking to everybody. And Nicole,
I'm the watcher. I'm the
yeah,
observer.
she's just sitting there like watching everybody, and I'm getting everybody's name, where they work, who's their grandma, and I'm talking to everybody.
Who's their grandma?
You
You
gotta
can
think of
tell you're
this.
from Virginia.
Yeah, who's your grandma?
This
But
is, I mean, I'll tell you guys real quick right now. This is totally fun for me because I can see the two different personalities. I could totally
Yep.
see that
Yep.
scenario where you guys at that. But the
but we
bowling,
did have
I
fun
like that.
bowling.
That's a good idea. That's a good first date kind of date.
Well, and
Hiking is a
just
good
getting to
one.
know somebody, just because these gentlemen that were there together, like buddies come together, no plus one needed, and they're both single, but they're trash talking one another, and one's just done. So by game two, the other gentleman was like, "You're my competition now." I said, "Come on!" And so, and it's where we connected, and went on our first date finally.
Good.
And he's also, speaking for him, he's also out of a long-term relationship from a very strong wife who told him when and where. So dating for him is very new, because he's been told where to go and what time to pick the kids up and what to wear. And so he enjoyed coming out as well and having a good time. So I mean, we've had a lot of gentlemen show up that were in divorces, had been divorced. We've had several widowed ladies that have shown up
Ooh,
to these
that's a shame.
meetings. And that's, everyone has a different story, but we're all still single and most all over 45 or 50.
Yeah, that's what but because I've obviously pushed through that decade, come through
Not
it
much.
with a little damage, but but they say because one of these because we've talked about it, like people in their 50s, let's say like 50 to 55 or 60, they may still have kids at home.
Yes.
They talk about the baggage. They
Mhm.
talk about uh, dating someone with an axe to grind, or yeah, because that's one thing I found. Again, we're going back to Mitch's notes. It's they don't have access to grind, but they have kind of a negative connotation. They don't talk badly of their exes, whoever they were, but they don't talk great about them either. Maybe they weren't
Yeah.
great. I don't know.
So, and I think you see it from the female side of that. You see men that have a lot of trauma too, and women do too. I laugh because I've never been married. I don't have children. And I was telling a buddy of mine who lost his marriage to running a small business because that became his relationship. And he's like, "You're an effing unicorn." He's like, "We can't find you out here." And he's like, "I don't want to live here anymore because otherwise we'd be going on a date."
I don't
It's
know. I mean, from my point of view, because I've dated women with kids like they're teenagers and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm fine with that. I love
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I, I would never
you've
expect
raised
to.
children.
No.
Yeah.
Children do not bother me.
Yeah,
That's not, this never deal breaker. The
I would
I'm
gentleman,
not going to
prefer
be
they
their
be
mom.
older.
I
I'm
don't
not
want
going
to
to
meet their
pretend to be their
mom.
dad, but
I'm not,
I'm a
yep,
good
yep.
person. I
I'm
think
there
it'd
to
be
be
a
your
good part
friend.
of their life.
Yep.
But they
I want to
also
be
think,
there.
they've noted that at this point, do you guys think it's a hard time compromising? They say, because by the time we're at this age, you've developed some set patterns of behavior and the ways you feel, and you're much more set in your ways, and your values are kind of set. Are you still open to change?
So I am, and going through this last breakup, um, I did the work, and I do the work anyways. Like I go to therapy, I do a lot of self-reflection, I do all the things you should be doing to better myself, to be ready. And one of those things, Angie and I had a conversation was, write down what you're looking for and what you're willing to bring to the table. And my therapist agreed with that. And so it's a partnership, and I kept seeing that, and I keep that letter and those notes to myself that it's a partnership. I've got to be willing to give and take. So this day on Friday, he's like, "Well, what time?" I said, "Nope, nope, you're planning this date because the next one I'll gladly plan and I'll do it, do all the work."
That
And,
works.
so it's a compromise in finding that balance in dating at this point, and being open to that. Whether I would want to relocate, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big
Yeah,
one.
cohabitation. Some of my girlfriends do not want to live with their partners that they're dating,
Really?
and it's just, yeah, they
I don't think I would want to live with her.
One,
If I ever
not
met
dating,
anybody,
no.
no. If I ever became in another long-term relationship, I don't want to live with someone. I just, I like my space. I like my things. And the thought of somebody moving in with me and staying here gives me anxiety. And I normally don't ever have that, but I'm like, oh hell, I've got to get space. That makes me uncomfortable. I'd rather just have somebody I went out with a couple of times a month, and I'm fine with that.
Well, let me ask you, because even after, let's just say, well, first of all, I've talked to some of my younger friends that like say they're in their early 30s, and
Yeah.
one friend in particular said he's been dating a girl for a long time, and he had at that point he lived in Seattle, she lived in LA. They're thinking about moving to LA because the apartment is actually cheaper. Said, well, you're gonna have to put a ring on her finger. He's like, no, man, we're not
Yep.
getting married. It's just, why would you get married when 50% are going to break up anyway? Do you guys still feel that way, or I mean, would you get married?
I've been married 3 times. I think I should leave it at that.
And we've had this conversation too. I'm open to marriage, but it's going to take the right person to make it happen for me. And that's why I'm still single.
Do you think it's changing now? Do you think
Yeah,
it's
I've got,
changing? Like the whole mindset is there's no
yeah,
need to be married,
yeah, yeah. And especially like I told you, like, I'm
but I
set in my
still like it
career.
though.
Yeah, I like the idea of it.
I might marry for insurance, come to think of it.
And there are people that do that
That's a
too.
damn good point. It just
Yeah.
I would
But
marry for somebody. I just have a damn double income. I could be retired soon. It's like
see, it's really hard out here on single incomes. But yeah, my mom
Yeah.
and dad have been married 48 years. They've been together 52. I guess it's been yeah. And then my grandparents were married 50 years until my grandpa passed away. So I'm just like, I have that vision of I'm doing it once, that's it. So I've gotten close a handful of times, but
yeah. But see, no, isn't that because as you're talking about it, it's like, oh, that's like I've got like two regrets in my life. And one was my marriage didn't work long term, and two
right.
was I never served the military. Because as you think, as you guys are talking about, as Nicole, as you're talking about the long term marriage is like, oh, that's just the best. That's but I'm 61 now. My long term at most is gonna be 23 years, and I'm calling it quits. Social Security
Right.
says I'll be dead by then.
Right.
No, no, no. I'm making it till 97. That's my goal.
Yeah,
That's
I have a
I
new
want.
because I've never thought about it. I always thought like 84. Now I'm thinking lately, some reason I'm thinking 93. So you got 94, Nicole. When are you gonna die? Let's make it morbid. Let's wait.
Well, I
99.
don't know. I've got, I mean,
99.
yeah. the technology, medical will change drastically. We might
Yeah,
live.
that's true.
Yeah. Yep.
That's part of that's part of financial planning, but we'll have to talk about that at some point. Maybe
Right.
we'll,
I can retire at 55, but I'm doing a second career.
I don't know though. I mean, bringing it all together, it's like, it's challenging, it's different. The landscape has changed, the dynamic has changed. We don't know if we want to be married again. Me, I'll say yeah, even though I've that was pretty cool. We talked about, when even if you're not a Trump supporter, you should be having sex for the first time. But whether or not we want to cohabitate. But all in all, I think everything taken into consideration, we're all still out there trying to make it happen, right?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right.
But that's
I
the
think it'd still be the
important thing
best.
is to still just go out and enjoy things. Get out and
There you go.
you don't know when you're going to meet somebody, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, just get out there. I mean, that's just like we're saying, like I've talked about afterwards, part of my plan is, and I can tell you that I have a plan because I'm very smart, you can tell. Part of my plan is, wow, I feel a little stupid right now. I've never seen myself with these on. But
Remember when you
my
laughed at
plan is
me
that
last time? Yeah.
I but it was with kindness. It's from my heart. Wait a minute. It's from the heart. Uh, but part of my plan is to go out and work on this episode and just grab a couple beers at a craft brewer on an evening, and who knows, maybe they'll be there.
That's
It's a lot of
exactly
times
right.
like I'll get up and get out just because they may be there.
That's right.
And hopefully when you go see, shout out to Charlie Crockett. When you go see
Yeah,
Charlie Crockett in Austin,
that's a
Texas,
good
you might
point.
meet a two-stepping woman there.
Oh God, now you're making my heart go pitter patter.
Yep. In two-step.
Nicole,
Pitter
are you a
patter.
dancer, Nicole?
She's
I
a
am.
two-stepper.
Yep, a two-step.
I
She's
was
a
out last night
two-stepper.
at a dance hall, and so many. Usually it's like so crowded for like the band, like people won't be dancing, but there was so many people two-step, and they were damn good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look, guys, I appreciate get this out of here. I appreciate the the you guys joining in today. It was a real fun conversation, Nicole. I'm so glad you were able to join Angie today. I don't know if you're aware of her prowess on my podcast or on Mitch's podcast, but she's got one of the most downloaded episodes ever, and I think two in the top 20 because we're getting close to 100. You guys getting close to 100.
Woo, woo.
I know we'll have to do
We're
something
getting there.
interesting, but thank you very much for joining. Thanks for discussing this. I thought it was a fun topic. And if you're okay, I'd like to do it again sometime.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be
You
back.
bet. See you guys.
Bye.